Dear Professor Monica, I express my gratitude towards you being so kind to participate in the Jean Monnet Center of Excellence project. We are sharing your professional experience in the field of European Union labor law and its transposition policies into the Poland legislation. The project EUPOLTRANS is implemented by the Caucasus School of Governance. My name is Eka Kardava. I am a labor law professor and expert of this project. Let me ask you some questions. The questions will evolve around EU labor law policy and its transposition process. Before starting, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, dear professor, for inviting me to cooperate with Jean Monnet Center. It is a very honor for me that I can share my experience in this regard. I introduce myself very briefly because I think that the main and crucial point is the focus of the subject matter. I mean, how the European labor standard works in our community. As I said, my name is Monika and I am the head of Department of Labor Law at University in Gdańsk. But I am very proud with my second position. The second position is promote the post, you see, working yet poor. I am the managing this project by university side, and this project are financed by Horizon 2002, and this is very well known and very demanding project based of mutual and international cooperation, and our consortium composed of the 11 research centers from all European countries.
Thank you very much, and very important information. Now, my first question, what does European Union labor law regulates, and to what extent the EU regulates labor issues?
This is very, I think this is a simple question. However, the answer is not so easy because the scope of regulation is very range and regulate many aspects of labor issues. However, I want to draw attention that the moment of proclaim the labor standard has the effect of interpretation. So I divided this history of the three periods, which is very important. The first 30 years of integration was dominated by the economic integration. This is why labor standard developed only in this area that can support economic integration. At that period, some of the directives originally from this period include, for instance, directive of collective redundancies. And this directive describe or address the procedure that company must follow when considering collective layoff. So that directive concentrate on the procedure of collective redundancy, not limited decision of employees offered such a redundancies, only the regulate procedure. Another very important directive which comes from that period is protection of employees in the event of the transfer of undertakings or a business. So this is very important directive which preserve the right of employees when the workplace change in ownership or structures. What is the main achievement of this directive? The main achievement is ensuring continuity of employment condition. So they ensuring continuity of an employment condition in the new employer. This is a very crucial guarantee and very unusual mechanism of protection of workers' rights. And the last very well-known directive, which comes from this period, this is protection in the event of employer insolvency. As the name of this directive said, they protect the employer's right in the case of employer's insolvency, protect the measure to secure employers' claims. It is, of course, there are not fulfilled all the claims. It is part of the claims, but it is guaranteeing the minimum level of the protection. This is the first period at the beginning of the integration. But also the very important period comes from the years of the 19th up to the 2008. This period, this directive, which proclaimed at that period, responds with the phenomena of very well-known concept, flexicurity. So, directive response of the flexibilization of labor markets, and that's the European legislation wants to find the balance between flexible market and protection of workers' rights, and this is why this express the concept flexi security. But frankly speaking, nobody knows where exactly the limit of flexibility ends and where the limit of the protection begins. So the balance was very difficult. And at that time, the directive focused on establishing the minimum standard for equal treatment for workers who work under atypical contract, but it was the same, still the employment contract, but unusual, atypical, as I said. So legislation regulate the part-time work, fixed-term work, and temporary contracts, which is organized by temporary work agency. And the last period, this is the period which follow of the amendments brought by the Lisbon Treaty, focus on setting minimum standard for working condition for all workers based, and this is very crucial, important moment, based on an agreed definition of workers. This period responds of the process of globalization, and of course, what exactly does mean agreed definition of workers? This means that the definition of workers is autonomous and interpreted differently and separate in accordance, separate from the national regulation. So, definition of workers has autonomous meaning according to European labor regulation. There are no link to national definition. Why? Because the scope, the personal scope, should be the same in each member state. And thanks for that, for such a concept. European legislation proclaim working time directive, transparent and predictable condition directive, and last, very well known and very well discuss, this is how to say the hot topic, work-life balance directive, which is which the aim of this directive is seek the balance between the professional life and also private life. This is the history. If you wish something additional information, I am on your disposal. But I would like to focus that European labor law composes or is divided into the several categories of the comprehensive regulation of labor law issues, like European individual labor law, collective labor law, very important part of regulation, which is a name and have related to the cross-border employment situation. This is the private international law, which is connected with the Rome I regulation. And finally, we have the procedural law, which is related to the jurisdiction and enforcement of judgment, because if you have the doubts which national law regulate the contract of employment, we have also a special regulation which determine which court has jurisdiction and how this judgment in labor law related matters should be enforced in cross-member states. If you wish, I can, of course, describe each of the part of regulation, but it's, as you see, it's a very comprehensive
I see.
And we can discuss for 60 hours.
Thank you for such a deep and profound information explaining the history of development of European Union labor law and extent and scope of regulation within this labor law. Now, my second question, what is the impact of the EU labor law on the national legislation and practice? How EU labor law develops and empowers the national good practice in the labor field?
I think that this is deeply involved. This is, I think, the history of developed legislation start completely new after being a member state and after accept European labor standard. Let me express that there are several methods of approximation of law. Most approximation in labor law achieved by the harmonization. Most of the European labor law composed of the directive. And directive is really unusual and unique to a European law, and do not have equivalents in national law and even international law, in international public law. Why? Because directive entails achieving the specific objective through national legal measures. So directive guarantee the minimum standard of the protection. The directive define the objective, but each member state have something like discretion to implement by the national legal measures. So this is a mix of the legal problem. What can say that the impact of labor law on national law and the practice is significant and really multifaceted. So the first, we have the effect of harmonization of the standard of the protection. So EU labor law set the minimum standard of the protection that each member state must meet. There are no exceptions that diminish of the protection. What is the effect of such a regulation? Labor law prevent social dumping. Do you know this expression?
Yeah.
Yes, this is, I think, the purpose. And also they give the effect the level playing field. So each of the employer had the same position from all member states. So I think this is the step to the fair competition, harmonization of the standard, and accept the minimum protection of the employers, prevent the social dumping, and give the level playing field. The second achievement is create a legal framework. What does it mean? This is the process which gives the result of the strengthening of labor protection and adaptation of the national legislation to the EU requirements. What is, of course, the natural question is, what happens if the European member state does not meet this requirement? This is the very deep legal consequences. Like, if the state does not meet this requirement, it bears, the state, bear responsibility both to the European Union and also, in some cases, to individual or employees or employers. So this is a huge responsibility by member state. We have also the separate courts, which is focused on a method of implementation of the effectiveness of this European Court of Justice that responsible of such a claims. But as I said, also the employees can seek protection, but not before the European Court of Justice, but they can seek protection, but each national court. So this is absolutely the very effective mechanism, because the national court is very close to employees, and national court is obligated to implement and also give this protection, which comes from European labor law. What else? Because it is not finished. I think their responsibility. This is very hard. This is an example of a very hard breach of the law. But I think the most value and precious value is light in cooperation, and also promote the best practice. Also European labor standard serve the dissemination of the best practice among member states, and which method we use. In each year, European Commission prepare the report of implementation of EU law. Of course, the part of EU law is European labor law, and in this report, member states present the methods implementation, how the effect, how the method they use to achieve the goal. So this report also promote effective labor policy of the practice, and also show the bad example. So this is good example, also bad example in such a report. And also I would like to draw attention with another method of approximation of law. This is open method of coordination. it's not the typical labor law, but it's very important with coordination of social policy. So labor law also promote coordination and cooperation among member states. For instance, member states are obligated to prepare a separate report on labor law market and also inclusion policy instrument. And this national report are later analyzed by European Commission in conjunction with other national report from other member states. So they organize the roundtable, just discuss, to share the practice, share opinion, and share also how they achieved, which method they achieved the best results. And the next step is enhancing the workers' rights. I think this is the most valuable part of European labor law, that labor law reinforce workers' rights by ensuring equal treatment. I think the equal treatment is something like a religion of European law. This is most valued, the pressure value of European law. Eliminate and exclude unfair treatment. Non-discrimination. This is a pressure value of European labor law. And what I can also share with my experience comes from my project, WorkYP. This project gives the evidence that the awareness of the common citizenship. Do you know that when you have the national citizenship, Polish, German, French, you have in the same time possess the European citizenship. But my project gives the evidence that the awareness of the common citizenship within the European Union is connected to social guarantees, labor law, and unrestricted movement of workers. So the project of European citizenship has the strength link to social protection and labor law, and also what is the next effect to support labor mobility, that give the chance and labor law facilitate labor mobility, which gives opportunity to enhance skills, seek employment across European Union, and also this contribute free movement. The person, especially the workers, contribute to the dynamic growth and evolution of labor market in European Union. I think this is very, as you see, the effect is significant and multifaceted. It's very hard to select all the information, but I try my best to do that.
This is what we should study, so thank you very much. And thank you for mentioning about the social dumping, because this is now obligation what Georgia should meet, and it is a written obligation in the association agreement and DCFTA part, what is concluded between European Union and Georgia, market development without social dumping. So the stressing of this instrument principle, it was very important. Thank you.
Yes, exactly.
Now my third question: how government, employers and employees, these social partners, react towards the transposition of the European Union labor regulations into a national legal system?
think this is, the tricky question, very difficult, because I think that the reaction of the government, business, employers, and the place could be varied based on their individual interest, priorities, and perspective. So the answer was not, I don't want to say that every stakeholders will willingly accept labor law standards. No, this is not such a history. So as I said, the reaction could be varied, not the same. I think that the whole obligation bear member states, the crucial actor, and I think that member states should be neutral as much as possible, and look for the balance between, of course, between implementation and compliance and implementation of the European standards, but at the same time they should also provide the social dialogue with the stakeholders and respect the culture, the individual legal culture. I think that this is important. So the government typically focused on compliance and balancing EU requirements with domestic consideration. The business reaction, I think it may need to adapt a new regulation, there are no doubts, but they also taking into account the compliance cost and competitiveness concern. So, however, this is a very important reaction of this standard, but I think I would like to say something positive, because implementing labor standard, European labor standard, I think increase business operation cost. It is increased. This is something like, this is obvious. This is something that is easily predictable. However, I would like to draw attention in something that positive, because universal minimum labor standard guarantees equal opportunities for all entrepreneurs. So the basic is the same. So I think that employers should take in account that their position is more or less the same, because they have to respect the minimum standard. So the position, as I said, more or less in the same. So in this context, the common market and competitiveness is more closely associated with the technologies, innovation, investment, rather than achieving profitable at the expense of employees. So, as I said, the minimum standard excludes social dumping if the competitiveness base of the innovation, investment, new technologies, it is fair. It's not what is not fair. This eliminate European labor law, eliminate unfair competition based on explore and diminish protection of employees. This is unfair. So I think that the employers, the answers on employers' side should be different. But as I said, I would like to draw in some of the very positive aspects to accept the common minimum standard, which comes from the European labor law. And I think that the last stakeholders, that means the employees and the social partners, I think that generally very welcome improved protection may actively advocate for workers' rights based on EU standard, because as I said, this standard and the level of protection is steadily growing and growing and growing. And the main role of the so-called partners is improve the standard of the protection. So I tried to describe separately each main stakeholders from the government through the business and the employees and the social partners.
Yes, indeed. This social partnership instruments and co-decision procedures for the development, it is very challengeable in Georgia now. So it is a sphere where we should kind of study many European practices and empower these sitting together and decide together this social.
Decide together and make such a decision together, because even such a decision is how there increase the business cost operation, but they more accept if such a decision is made by a democratic way. Than impose because I have the power and I proclaim as a legal act without any consultation. So the social dialogue based on the trust, it is a crucial point, I think, and I of course willingly to share my experience and the experience of my country. I think there's more or less similarity. We were at the same position 30 years ago, like Jordan is now.
Yeah, trust and dialogue. It's very important. And my last question. What could be a good lesson and general advice for Georgia in the process of building of European labor standards?
This is what I say now is come from my heart than from a legal point. Because I am deeply involved for 20 years in mutual international cooperation, and I would like to share with my experience, especially comes from my project working at EUPOL. I think that the first and furthermore, increasing labor standards and improvement in the quality of life and generally speaking, overall well-being, promote and have the impact in social harmony. I think that the labor law standard on a national level guarantee something like peace in society and develop harmony in society. This is, I think, this is a crucial point. But what I would like to underline that the advantages from European labor standard should benefit all segments of society. So this benefit, all segments of the society should address equally. So each part of the society should feel such a benefit. An important remark from my research and my project is that if some of the group of society exclude from such a benefit, this can lead to the tension, resistance, and questioning of social and economic reform. So no part of the society should be outside of the protection. I think we couldn't use law as the only instrument. I think we should use the labor law as an instrument for the good social policy to to divide disadvantages of the European standard for all group of society, because later such a tension between various group of the people could raise doubts about EU membership. So without a good policy, we provoke the problems in the future. So I think that the societal division become really a challenge to the core of the principle of the European Union. And I think that the crucial point at this stage is introducing responsible social policy based on the practical implement of EU standard, based on inclusion policy, and running real social dialogue, which give opportunity to develop a better future and a better understanding of such a mechanism. I think this is comes from my heart. This has come from my experience, and this is the crucial remarks of report which we prepared with among 11 academic centers. Provide reasonable and inclusion policy based on European legal standard.
Professor Monika, thank you very much. Your shared experience and knowledge is very particular for Georgian European integration, and it is very important for researchers in Georgia, academia, and policy makers as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I hope that this is our first meeting, but not last meeting. I give you many evidence and many arguments for the future cooperation, because I think
indeed
that the labor standard, this is the common standard, notwithstanding of the country. You have the status of the accession country, so you need to adopt this standard. I think the best ground is European labor law and standard of protection of workers' rights.
Of course, it's a must human rights standard. Yes.
Human rights. Yes, exactly. This is a part of the human rights. As I said, European citizenship, the awareness of the European citizenship linked to social rights.
Yeah, social justice and social security, of course. No freedom without that.
Yes, I know that very well. So, dear Professor, thank you for your invitation, for our speak and our conversation. Of course, for me, this is also the source of the knowledge, and I also strengthen your efforts to be a member of the European Union.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.